All right. Well, we're here with the amazing Mike Leverett, and he joined the program in November of 2020. Is that right?
I think that's when it
Is
was,
that
right?
right, Mike?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was.
And so, yeah. And so, if you wouldn't mind, could you just kind of introduce yourself and tell us about the results you got in the program?
Well, my name is Mike Leverett, and I own and operate a painting business. Started that back in 1982 in California, and moved to Colorado in 2004, and resumed the painting business here, and it's been really good. Um, and you were asking me what
Yeah,
my
like
results are.
yes, yes.
My results have been really good. Great, in fact. Um, I think when I told you that I kind of went a little different route instead of just privately listening to all of your messages myself, when I thought there was something pertinent for that my wife would like hearing, understanding what I'm learning about myself and how to make our marriage better. She really bought in and said, if you're willing to do this, I'm willing to make a new start. And we've never looked back. It might be different for where each woman is at, but I don't see how it can hurt. When I first listened to your hour-long or 40-minute video for the introduction, before you even get to have the phone conversation with you, I screenshotted. Every time you changed the page, I screenshotted that. So when you had an overview of what you were talking about in each segment of that whole 40-minute theme, I had all these screenshots. So the first thing I showed her was about 4 of those screenshots that I knew she would like to see that I'm being woken up to.
Yeah.
You just touch on everything. I've told a lot of people about just the knowledge you have and insight you have, and you don't miss a beat on any aspect. And right, it's awesome.
Oh, thank you. And so, whatever you're comfortable sharing, can you kind of tell us where you were in your marriage as you were starting this process?
Well, of course, it seems like most men think they're not as bad off as they really are. My
Right.
wife's has been the type that would hold things in, and you think things are perfect, and then a year later, 2 years later, there's a bunch of stuff that was hidden deep in there that was really making her upset the whole time. So I would say we were really ready to take a break. I was going to rent a house by my sisters in Dana Point in California, rent a condo for like 3-4 months of the winter, and see. I was getting to the point where I wanted to let her and other parts of my family see what it'd be like without me, with just a lot of the stuff that was going down. I think that would have been a mistake in hindsight. I don't think distance always makes the heart grow fonder.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize where she was at either at that point. So it was on Facebook. I saw your ad come up there. I don't know how. And I clicked it and I listened to it, and it made a lot of sense. And then when we talked, there was a lot of confirmation that I felt in my spirit of what you were talking about.
Awesome.
So yeah,
Hey,
I guess that was a long answer. Short answer is it was pretty bad. She was talking to counselors that were basically trying to tell her how to leave a marriage. We've been married 30 years.
yeah, that's the insidious thing. A lot of guys, they don't know that's happening.
I found on like Amazon, I got I went to buy something on Amazon, and I noticed that in the cart of something that was sent to her mom's address, which is right down the street, 3 houses, was a book. So of course I got the book myself to read what she was reading, and
Mm-hmm.
it was not a good book. And yeah, so I knew it was serious.
What was it that just really kept you moving forward?
Well, I grew up, I was born in '64. My dad, shortly after, had to go to Vietnam, came back, and they got divorced when I was, I think, 3, maybe 4. So then she remarried when I was about 5 or 6. So I had a stepdad, I had 2 brothers, a brother and a sister, same mom, different dad. So I know what it's like to grow up, in a new, with a new person, trying to be your dad. And he was a good stepdad from 5 years old till 6th grade when they got divorced. So I've always had strong conviction that once married, you stay married, and especially raising kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So had you tried anything else before we met?
Just we had went, 2 different times when times got pretty bad, and talked to a counselor, at a Christian counselor, and it went well. It kind of set things and gave a restart. But I've never been one that likes to go and start talking with someone that's going to dig into past and bring up past. I'm always forward looking, and I've always known within myself, if someone brings it up to me, I'm willing to look at myself and try to make improvements for the better. If someone points something out, I don't just say, "Oh, you're full of it, I'm better than that," or whatever. So I would always say to her, I don't need counseling. It's me and God. I know how He wants me to be toward you. But your program, to me, the way you just drive it in over and over and come up with things, I can't even name all the different ways you cover stuff that point out to you how much it really is your responsibility. And I've always known that, but you just drive it in there, and it is the man's responsibility. It definitely is. And so as a believer, I think once people hear what you're saying, if they are a believer, they'd have to make changes. So, and I didn't do it unwillingly, and I'm just glad I got your program. That's for sure.
Awesome. Thanks. And so do you remember what the very first thing I told you to do was? And did you get a result? Like, how long did it take before you started seeing results?
Well, I don't know if you remember something different than me. I just think I remember you saying to start the program and do it. And
nice.
Right off the bat, I recognized stuff in there that I've heard from her when she would have those annual blow-ups of what she wasn't getting from me. And I knew that I wanted her to know what it was I was investing into our marriage to make her happy and give her the life she really needed. And that's why I shared it with her, like, right away. I mean, it was the very first part of the program. And she enjoys it. So I haven't listened to like 10% of it with her,
yeah.
But I pick and choose, and she's loving the results of what I'm doing. So I'm doing something right. But
nice. As
those sessions go further and further, you cover everything. Like, I mean, there's just so much you cover in this thing. I can't give you more accolades for how much I learn and the things you remind of and cause you to think about.
And so can you bring us up to speed? Where are you in your marriage right now?
Now, things between us are just super good. We're learning about coaching your marriage, so I'm ready to start implementing that. And that's what I know she would like to, and that's what will stop me from, hitting a stalemate and just thinking things are good and falling back into any ruts,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and for you to continue to stay plugged into the system, that you are still in that Facebook group, and so I still do trainings in there. So make sure you're plugging into that, and make sure that you're listening to the ones that you weren't able to be on live.
Right.
So, like, what would you say to the man who, I don't know, he's frustrated, and for years he's been trying to make progress in his marriage, and he's just stalling, and he's just like, is this real? Can this work? Is this really a possibility for me? What would you say to him?
And he, coming from the aspect that his wife's the one that wants to leave, not him.
Yes.
Like he's thought he's done everything needed, but she just doesn't get it or doesn't think he is.
Yes.
Well, I think if he hasn't heard all of your program, he needs to hear that first, because I think he would find out most likely that he is missing a lot. And he thinks he's being the nice guy or the best guy, but I'm not kidding. You're not paying me to do this interview or anything. And you cover so much, it has to wake men up. So if you're just starting the program and you're thinking it's not working, then keep going further. But I just think you cover everything to point out what it is that man is not giving. And once he starts to give what you point out, things will get better. It's worth it. I thank you and appreciate you so much.